you've ever felt, totally stuck in a loop, wondering what actually separates the people who just barely get by from the ones who absolutely thrive, well, you are exactly where you need to be. Today, we're diving into a really powerful explainer. We're breaking down a framework for finally ditching the ordinary life. The core premise here, it's simple, but honestly, it's pretty brutal. If you don't change today, your tomorrow is going to look exactly the same. It is a bold reality check. So over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack exactly why your future is literally in your own hands, and more importantly, how you can start taking control of the whole shebang right this second. So let's just ask the big question. Why do some people achieve extraordinary success? Seriously, it's a question we've all asked ourselves, right? You look at leaders or innovators or just those folks who seem to have life completely figured out. How do they rise from totally ordinary circumstances to achieve things that seem, well, completely out of reach for the rest of us? Getting to the bottom of this means we really need to stop looking at success as some kind of mystery and start looking at it as a repeatable process. And here's the thing, the answer isn't luck. It's not innate talent, and unless you have a fairy godmother on speed dial, it is definitely not magic. I mean, we love using those words to let ourselves off the hook, don't we? Think about it. If success is just magic, well, then we don't really have to put in the hard work, right? But stripping all of those comfortable, cozy excuses away, that clears the board. It lets us focus on the real differentiator. Basically, there are two fundamentally different ways you can approach your goals. On one side, you've got the passive trap, waiting for the quote-unquote right time. How often do we actually catch ourselves saying, "Oh, I'll start that project when things settle down," or "I'll get to the gym when the time is right"? Let's be real. The harsh truth is that the perfect time, it never comes. It just doesn't. On the flip side is the active reality of highly successful people. They create opportunities. They don't sit around waiting for the stars to magically align. They build their own momentum from scratch.
Now, here is a really tough pill to swallow. The life you are living today is the direct result of the choices you made yesterday. Period. End of story. But actually, scratch that. Here's the silver lining. By that exact same logic, the life you're going to live tomorrow depends entirely on the choices you make today. Sure, you can't go back and change yesterday, but you have absolute 100% control over what your tomorrow looks like. And that's based on the decisions you execute right now, at this very moment. It all boils down to one single decision: stopping the excuses and starting the action.
Of course, the absolute biggest roadblock to taking that action is fear. Specifically, the fear of failing. We desperately need a total rebrand of the word failure. It's not a permanent state, guys. It's not a scarlet letter marking you as inadequate. Failure is, quite simply, learning something that brings you one step closer to success. When you reframe it this way, failing isn't this terrifying thing to avoid, it's literally an essential mechanism for gathering the data you need to eventually win.
Because the truth about failing is that it doesn't mean you've lost. The game is only actually over if you stop playing. It is a required stepping stone. You just can't reach extraordinary success without tripping a few times along the way, and perhaps the most eye-opening realization here is that every successful person has failed way more times than most ordinary people have even tried. The high achievers do it the most because they're the ones actually putting themselves in the arena. So we absolutely have to normalize failing. It's a universal, totally necessary part of the process. Now, if the idea of overhauling your entire life overnight sounds completely terrifying to you, don't worry. Here's the secret weapon. 1%. You don't need massive, sweeping changes that leave you overwhelmed and burned out by Tuesday. Instead, imagine the compounding power of tiny, marginal gains. If you improve by just 1% every single day, the cumulative effect over the course of a year is just staggering. You don't need magic. You just need a 1% edge repeated daily. To actually lock in that 1%, you should adopt a super simple morning mantra. Wake up every day and ask yourself, what can I do today that makes me better than I was yesterday? That's it. It doesn't ask what you can do to be completely perfect a decade from now. It just asks what small, tangible action you can take today to beat your past self. It's focused, it's totally manageable, and it is the ultimate driver for continuous evolution. But full disclosure, as soon as you start making these changes, expect some pushback. It's inevitable. The doubters are absolutely going to come out of the woodwork. People might laugh at your dreams. They might openly doubt your abilities. Heck, some will even look you right in the eye and tell you that you will never succeed. This is just a standard part of breaking out of the ordinary, and being fully prepared for it is absolutely crucial so it doesn't knock you off course. So, how do you handle them? You let them talk. Their opinions do not define your future. Your actions do. You can't control the noise around you or what other people think, but their words, They have zero actual power over your trajectory. The only thing that dictates your future is the work you put in when the doors are closed and no one else is watching. And this whole thing hinges on a really vital distinction: motivation versus discipline. Think of motivation like a match. It flares up super hot, but it burns out incredibly fast the moment things get hard. Discipline, on the other hand, is the engine. It's a choice. True success isn't about waking up every single day feeling fired up and ready to go. It's about relying on discipline to carry you forward when that motivation totally vanishes. It's about showing up every single day, especially on the days you really don't feel like it.
Putting that discipline into practice basically comes down to a straightforward 4-step action framework. Step 1. Stay focused on your goal and completely ignore the noise and the doubters. Step 2. Stay disciplined, relying on routine and commitment over fleeting feelings. Step 3. Keep learning, which ties right back into what we said earlier about redefining our failures as data collection. And finally, Step 4. Keep growing, always aiming for that 1% daily improvement. If you follow these 4 steps, you are actively building your very own opportunities.
But I have to give you a warning here. Most people quit just before their breakthrough. It's a really sobering reality. The journey is going to be exhausting, and that temptation to just throw your hands up and give up, it will be at its absolute strongest right before the tide turns. Don't be one of those people. You have to trust the process. Never stop moving forward, even when it feels like you are just blindly walking in the dark. Because if you can push through that barrier, one day it all finally comes together. The hard work starts making sense. The sleepless nights, they pay off. All those sacrifices you made are completely validated. In that incredible moment of breakthrough, you will look back and genuinely thank yourself for never giving up. The discipline, the 1% improvements, the reframed failures, it all culminates in this profound sense of achievement.
The journey to extraordinary success isn't about waiting for the perfect time. It's waiting for you to start, right now. Your future is quite literally waiting for you. So I want to leave you with this one thought to chew on today. Will your tomorrow look exactly the same as today? Remember, the choice is entirely yours.